Man, Skip, I don't know what this. No. First of all, Stephen Jones is the boy that cried wolf. Because this is what Stephen Jones said in training camp 2019. We believe this roster, because of its depth, is right there with that 90 roster. They went 8-8. In 2015, before the opener, it's showing signs it can be as good as the 90s, any team since the 90s. They went 4-12. So what am I supposed to believe? Skip, you know what? Eventually, if he keeps saying that, he just needs to be right once. It's just like playing the lottery. They got him 3 times a week now, Skip. They got to miss my numbers that I put down on that paper every time they draw. I just got to be right once. And ta-da! You see? Stephen Jones just needs to be right once, and Stephen called it. He called it in 2015. He called it in 2019. He called it. He's been wrong. He just needs to be right. Skip, look, they are playing well. I will concede that. But Stephon Diggs on his best day, on his absolute best day, can't hold a candle to time.
Okay, but time was only there for the last one. Okay, so they had 3 great years, barely losing the NFC Championship game in the third year.
Okay, tell me the guy
with no time.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Tell me the guy that's better than Charles Haley on that defense right now. I give you Stephon Diggs, D-Law, all of them that's coming together. Tell me the guy that's better than Haley.
Micah has potential, but I don't even see Charles, even if I project Micah to the nth degree, I don't see Charles.
Okay.
I told you that the magic move was made by Jerry Jones. This is the one I give him credit for.
Yes.
You can rip him to shreds all you want. But he said, I think I can go talk Carmen Policy, who is running our arch rival in the NFC, into giving me a guy they just can't stand anymore. He has become more trouble than he's worth. And I told you, he was the catalyst for the whole run.
Yes.
Because nobody could block him. 2 couldn't block him, 3 couldn't block him.
But see, Jerry had the easy job, just making the trade. It was Jimmy and the rest of the team that had to deal with Charles on a day-to-day basis.
But he was ready to start fresh.
Yes.
And embrace a new way and a new culture. And it worked.
It worked. It worked because of the personalities that the Cowboys had in the locker room. It took a strong locker room to deal with Charles. And the 49ers could no longer deal with it.
There is no way they would have broken through in 1992, a year ahead of schedule, without Charles Haley being traded. It was just right before the season started.
I still don't believe I think the offensive line is. I don't think the offensive line is close. Now, they got 2 players. When you look at Ty Smith, who I believe is going to go to the Hall of Fame.
He will.
And Zach Martin. But, Skip, that 90s line with Newton, with Tuanay, with Big Easy, Kevin Gogan. Stepnoski was an all-pro at center.
All-pro.
Their best offensive lineman at the time might have been Eric Williams, whose career was cut short. But he wasn't the same player after that car accident, Skip.
He was not.
But he was dominant. So for me, they're playing really well. I won't take that away from them. But I don't think Stephen Jones realized just how good that team was that he had in the 90s.
Well, and he was there. I mean,
but if you can compare it. But here's the thing. This is why he wouldn't compare it if he'd have left Jimmy, because they'd had like 4 or 5 of those things. And so that's why when you come back, all the Patriots team, so 20 years from now, they have a team that win the Super that looks good and promising. Man, they look like those teams from the early 2000s, or they look like the teams from the mid-2010s.
Okay.
No.
Okay. You done?
I'm done.
I wrote 3 books on the Dallas Cowboys and 2 on this 90s dynasty. The first was on Tom Landry, sort of to Jerry Jones. But it was the rise and fall of Tom Landry. The second and third books were about this dynasty. So I think I know a little about this dynasty. And yet I am here to tell you, I did not have a problem with the way Stephen couched this, with the comparisons he did make. If you study it and break it down and parse it, I was barely okay. That's all I'm going to tell you. I was barely okay with the way he said it.
Okay, you saw it up close and personal.
I saw it. So can I frame it by just telling you? I know we're only 5 games in.
Okay.
But so far, Pro Football Focus ranks the Dallas Cowboys as they're on grading. They have graded the Cowboys as the second best team so far to the Cleveland Browns. You can rip that to shreds if you like, but that's what they say.
Okay.
They are grading them far and away the best offense in pro football, and it's not even close over the Bucs, Tom Brady and company, second, and I have a problem with that. I don't think they're better than the Bucs.
Okay.
But I'm just trying to tell you, The receiving core is ranked number 1 so far in grades. They're graded number 1 in the best run blocking line because obviously they're second in rushing statistically. And now if we flip it to the defense, they're graded so far 4th in coverage. Well, my defense was a supreme embarrassment of a liability a year ago.
Correct.
Mike McCarthy keeps saying, I've never seen a side of the ball flipped the way we flipped our defense in the offseason. And I'm starting to buy that because they are now statistically 5th against the run. That's pretty great considering they were getting run off the field all of last year until the bitter end. So now they're 2nd overall in rushing. They're 2nd in takeaways. They're 2nd in turnover differential. And they're 2nd in scoring overall, just barely 2nd in scoring. And they're 2nd in yards and in 3rd down conversions. So they're just barely 2nd to Buffalo and Baltimore in those categories. But my point is, up. I mean, across the board, it's screaming, this is a really good football team. So now what did Steven say exactly? Well, he started off saying that obviously Troy Aikman was a great leader, which he obviously was. He was the leader of those teams. But he thinks Dak is in the category. Well, I'm going to give you that.
Yeah, okay.
Dak is already showing me Aikman-esque command of the franchise. He's become the face of the franchise, and he is living up to his $75 million that he's making. And just in the way he carries himself, the trust factor sort of on and off the field, I'll go Troy Aikman there. He's at least rising into the ballpark with Troy, okay? Then the next point he made was swagger. I'm seeing some of the 90s swagger here. Not all of it, but I saw that team come together because I was there in 89 and 90 and 91. And the 91 swagger that I started seeing is they did barely make the playoffs and they wound up
losing to Detroit.
Oh, they got
the doors blown off.
Annihilated. They go in and say, we're going to take Barry Sanders away. And little Eric Kramer threw a party on them. It was 38-6.
Yeah.
It was a wipeout. Okay. Troy did not play in that game. That was a Steve Berline run through the playoffs because they went and won a game at Chicago against what was left of Ditka's Bears. Okay, so swagger, I'm seeing that. So I'm going to give you a bingo there that I'm starting to see that kind of body language in this team that I saw in the 90s teams early on. Then he flips it over and he says, on defense, we have similar speed. Well, it wasn't a great defense except for Charles Haley and Darren Woodson, and then Prime comes for the last run against Pittsburgh. It wasn't even fair.
Skip, Leon Lett was really good.
He was good.
I mean, people don't realize how good Big Cat was. They were a rotational team.
Can I put D-Law in the ballpark? Just in the ballpark. Okay, I do. In depth, he talks about we were so deep in the 90s where we could just run them in and out to where in the fourth quarter we're just fresher than you are.
Right.
This defensive line is deep, and Randy Gregory made the Pro Football Focus all-weekly team as first team all-edge, okay? Because he was wreaking havoc albeit against the Giants, but he was all over the field, and I told you I thought he would have a breakout Pro Bowl-like year. I don't know if he'll actually make the Pro Bowl, but again, I'm seeing that kind of depth. Dorrance Armstrong is a player, but he's not even there. He's coming back, and they're going to go 8 deep, and they can just keep throwing them out there. Okay. And then we move to the fact that he frames this in the end. Stephen Jones says there are a lot of similarities in the two teams, and I'll give you that. But then he ends it with this statement, and you got to take this one to your bank. Now, this team has a lot to prove and a long ways to go before I think you can actually start to compare this team to those teams.
Well, then why you do all that?
Okay, he's just doing the similarities are there. The makings of, you got the leader, you got the swagger, you got the team speed on defense. They got team speed. They can fly.
You know what? Everybody can relate to this at home. Everybody got that homeboy that meets the girl, this the one. Sharpe, this the one, man. I'm talking about, man. She got her own crib, her own ride. She makes 6 figures. Hey, Sharpe, this the one. 2 months later, what happened? Man, please. Sharpe, this the one. Man, dog, listen to your boy now. This is the one. Okay. That's Stephen Jones.
I have been on 5 dates with this team.
No.
5 dates. Okay. And I'm ready to say this is the one.
You quick.
I'm not quick.
Yep.
In the past, I said, I'm not going to jinx it. I'm not going to talk about it. And now I'm all in because I trust this team. It will not embarrass me.
You the guy that goes to the party after 5 songs, you done hugged up with the girl and you there for the rest of the night. And all the dime pieces coming in and now you stuck because they saw you hugged up with her 5 songs into the dance. Nah, bro.
I was always.
I know you were. I know you were. I know you were.
That's true.
Now, see, let's look at you. Now, when Shay come in, scan, sit back, I'm going to see, play, wait. Let the thing develop. Let it develop, Skip.
I finally hugged up to the right one.
Yeah.
I did.
See, if you'd have waited, you'd have had Ernestine 25 years ago. But that was your head hard. See, you that Polaroid. You get, Skip, just let it develop. You take the picture, blood. You remember the old Polaroid?
Yeah, I know.
Let it develop.
If you went too quick, it just be
you mess it up. Lines all in it.
Oh, terrible.
Let it develop. Skip, Skip, you're 5 games in. Let it develop.
I saw at GOAT. I saw at Justin Herbert. I saw them demolish 3 straight teams at home. I saw it.
Yeah, it was any of those teams any good.
What did my eye test tell me? It's the same yours were telling you, except you're too afraid to voice it because you know you're in trouble.
Skip, you don't see good out of one eye.
I'm in heaven, you're in trouble.
You don't see good out of one eye.
I got lazy.
They updated that technology. You might need to get it again.
No, I'm good. I'm 2015. I feel like I'm 15 when I see this team.
Yeah, exactly.
12-5.
That's some bull jive.
12-5. That's my vision right now. It's 12-5. I got 12-5 vision.
Oh, you gonna go? You go? I guarantee you. I'm gonna give you another 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
You go? 14-3. It's coming. I know you. It's coming.
We got a big one Sunday at Belichick.
Oh, really? That's a big one now.
Yeah, it's a big one. I don't know how, but we're 4-point favorites at Belichick, the mastermind.
You do know how you
knew?
Dak against Mac Jones, really?
I was trying to figure out what you were doing with this, but you're letting it develop.
Yeah, he making it develop quicker.
Like, what are you doing?
The line's going to be all in, and the pitcher going to be messed up.
They came out wet. You know, they were literally wet. You had to let it dry.
You supposed to let it dry, but everybody started fanning it, trying to speed the process up.
I got it.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.